Hey guys, for the last time, we have made it to our last lesson. So I hope you have been enjoying the class and I hope you have been enjoying systems of equations. So the type of equations we're going to do today is basically systems of nonlinear equations. Um, so the first part of the lesson, I want us to just focus on a linear equation and a quadratic. So as you can see in these graphs right here, you can have no solutions. You can have one solution, or you can have two solutions. So it is all based off of the equations that you get. So it could touch it, cross it, or not touch it at all. Okay? And sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. She is running crazy around the house. So, okay, so let's get started. So I do have some steps for you on this one. Solve the linear equation for one of its variables. So typically, the easiest thing to do is say y equals. Okay? You can substitute it in if you would like, or you can use, my brain just stopped, hold on. Or you can use elimination. It is completely up to you. Solve it, see, check your solution. It is up to you. Oh, step number 5, that's where I said use elimination to solve. You just have to make sure everything is lined up vertically. So if you want the honest truth, that is the method that I would use. Okay, so elimination is always my favorite, and I love using it when it is on these. However, substitution does also help well, but more on like the other types. So let's just go look at them and see what we got and see what we want to use. Okay, so here we go. And by the way, this says example 3 because technically this lesson goes with 7.2. I just thought you guys would enjoy a short video for a change. Okay, so let me think here. Let's go ahead. I think I'm going to do both methods on this one so that you guys can see it. Okay, so let's start with the substitution method. Okay, so notice that both of these, I'm going to just highlight substitute right there in pink, and so that you know that I did the method in pink. So notice that these both say y equals. So I could take this and substitute it in right here. So I can go negative 12x plus 36 equals x squared minus 11x minus 36. Now this is set up just like an equation for you to solve. And hopefully you remember that when you have an x squared, you've got to keep that positive. So that means I would want to add the 12x to the negative 11, and I want to subtract the 36. And then put that underneath my other negative 36. So that means all of this cancels. I get a 0. X squared. Negative 11x plus 12x is 1x. And negative 36 minus 36 will be a negative 72. Okay, so remember when you have an x squared, you might have to factor. So this is one of those factorings that is what times what gives you a negative 72. And then adds to give you a 1. Okay, so hopefully you said 8 and 9. Okay, so I need a positive 1 though. So that means I need 9 minus 8 gives us a positive 1. And then 9 times negative 8 gives us the negative 72. And then hopefully you remember from the polynomial unit, we are just going to set these equal to 0. If you remember the shortcut, that's great. Because basically these are factors and you just need the zeros. So that means we have 2 answers for x. Okay, so let's go and let's just do the bottom one. So we would go y equals negative 12 times negative 9 plus 36. So here y would be 144. So one of our answers would be negative 9 and 144. Oops. We're going to have y equals negative 12 times 8 plus 36. So here we have y equals negative 60. So we would have 8 and a negative 60. And of course, those are ones that we definitely don't want to graph. But just like before, we can check these. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze the checking in down here. So 144 equals negative 9 squared minus 11 times negative 9 minus 36. And if you type all this into your calculator, you will get a 144, so it works. Then we would go negative 60 equals 8 squared minus 11 times 8, and then minus 36. If you type all of that into your calculator, you will get a negative 60. So these are our answers. Okay? So, however, I like the elimination method. Okay? So elimination method means I need to line these up. So the first thing I want to do is line these up. So I'm going to get rid of that right now. So we have y equals x squared minus 11x minus 36. Y equals negative 12x would go here, and a positive 36 would go here. Okay? So notice every single thing is lined up. Now, the cool thing about elimination on these, if your problem says y equals, guess what? All you have to do is subtract those. But if I am going to subtract those, think of it like this. We are going to multiply this by a negative 1. So that becomes a negative 1, positive, and then let's not do it that way. I'm going to put it at, no, I don't want to do that either way. Let's just change them. So that means this would be negative, this would be negative, sorry, that was a positive. And then this one would become a negative. So notice what happens when I do it. These cancel, I get a 0, equals x squared drops. Negative 11x plus 12x plus x. Negative 36 minus 36. Negative 72. I get that right there. So it's up to you which way you want to do it, but I like elimination better. Okay? Okay, let's go look at the next one. So let's try that elimination method. So we're going to go y equals x squared minus 7x plus 22. So notice that both of those equations says y equals. So I'm just going to multiply by negative 1. Negative y equals negative 3x plus 3. We add. Cancel, 0. X squared drops. Negative 7x minus 3x is a negative 10x. 22 plus 3 is a 25. So again, this is where our polynomials come into play, or quadratics. What times what gives you 25 and adds to give you 10? Well, hopefully you said 5 and 5. But I need a negative 10, so both negative. And notice if I multiply them, I get a positive. So we go x minus 5 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. X equals 5. X equals 5. So notice on this one we got the same x value. So this means this is going to be one solution. So we're going to go y equals 3 times 5 minus 3. 15 minus 3 is 12. So our answer is 512. And again, you can check that. We would have 12 equals 5 squared minus 7 times 5 plus 22. These numbers are a little bit easier. So we have 25 minus 35, which is a negative 10, minus 22, 12. So we're good. Okay, so we'll go look at the next one. If you want to pause the video and give this one a try, you are more than welcome to. Okay, but still, you got to space them out. And then we don't have a number. We have an X, we have a number. Okay, so again, we need to multiply by that negative 1. I guess I should have just wrote it as we multiply. So we negative, and then we're going to have a negative X, and then a positive 4. We add, we get a 0. 2x squared, well, this is cool. Those cancel, and then plus 4. Okay. Okay, so because we don't have an X term, we can just solve this. So we're going to subtract 4. So 0 minus 4 is a negative 4. Divide by 2, we get a negative 2. Okay, and then technically we have to square root. But can we? No, okay? When we square root a negative, we get an I. It's imaginary, so we can't do this. It can't happen. So therefore, this is an example of no solution. Okay? So now I gave you an example of each one of those on how they're going to look. Now let's have some fun. How would you solve these? Okay, I think I have like 2 or 3 of these. So notice this is a quadratic. Notice this is a quadratic. How would you like to solve this one? Let's think. We've done a lot of substitution or elimination. You guys, we can substitute this one, or we can still eliminate it. I'm trying to think of which way we should go. Let's just do substitution. So that's a y equals. So let's take that and put that right there. 4 minus x squared equals x squared minus 4. So it looks like we're going to have to move, well, we got the same variables. So let's add this 4. So that's an 8. And then let's add the x squared. So x squared plus x squared is a 2x squared. Divide by 2, we get a 4. And we can take the square root of a 4. Okay? But here's the thing you have to remember. When we take the square root of a 4, please remember that's plus or minus 2. Okay? So let's use the top one. So we're going to go 2 squared minus 4. So that would give us a 0. So we're going to have the ordered pair 2, 0. Y equals negative 2 squared minus 4. Well, guess what? We get a 0 again, but this time it's negative 2, 0. So if we were to check that, I think you guys can see that if we did y equals 4 minus negative 2 squared, that gives us 0. Oops, I guess I should have a 0 there, sorry, when we're checking these. And 0 would also equal minus 2 squared. So these will be our answers. Okay. Okay, let's look at the next one. And at any time you guys want to pause these, you are more than welcome to. That is up to you. Or we can just keep doing them together. Okay. Okay. So notice we got an x squared and a y. These do not say y equals, but guess what? That is okay. Notice how things are lined up, okay? We have an x squared and an x squared. If I just subtract my two equations, well, guess what? They will disappear. So let's keep the top. And let's multiply the bottom by that negative 1 so that they will cancel. So we're going to have negative 6y equals 12. So y equals negative 2. Okay. So let's just do the top one. So x squared minus a negative 2 would be, oops, I accidentally wrote a y. So x squared plus 2 equals 18 minus 2. We get a 16. And of course, when we square root that, we get plus or minus 4. So notice this one kind of went backwards. So that means we could have 4, negative 2, and we can have negative 4, negative 2. So let's check it in the bottom. So we would have to have 4 squared plus 5 times negative 2. Would that give us a 6? Well, 16 minus 10 sure does. And then if you think about that, when I plug in a negative 4, I am still going to get a positive 16 minus 10 equals 6. And so we got it. Okay. And again, you guys, we got one more. If you would like to try to pause the video, go for it. It's up to you. Just evaluate what you got. If you want to get rid of the y's, go for it. It's a 2 and a 5. What number does 2 and 5 have in common? It's a 10. Multiply the top one by a 5, multiply the bottom one by a 2. However, the easiest thing to do is to get rid of those x squareds. So let's keep the top. Let's multiply the bottom by the negative 1. So negative x squared minus 5y equals negative 20. Those cancel. Negative 7y equals 7. So y equals negative 1. Okay. We'll just do the top again. X squared minus 2 times negative 1 equals 27. X squared plus 2. Subtract the 2. We get a 25. And of course, when we square root, we get plus or minus 5. So it looks like our answer is 5, negative 1. Negative 5, negative 1. Okay, so let's check it. Would 5 squared plus 5 times negative 1 gives us 20? Yep. 25 minus 5, it works. Would negative 5 squared plus 5 times negative 1 give us 20? It sure would. Negative 5 squared is still 25. Minus 5 gives us a 20. So these are our answers. Okay? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this semester. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson, or lessons, I should say. If you need me, just let me know.